In the midst of the world's constant noise, there exists a subtle shift, almost imperceptible to those still caught in the chase. Some begin to notice that the loudest voices rarely carry truth. They start to pull back, not out of fear or avoidance, but out of a newfound awareness. The observer within senses that endless argument and performance no longer serve a higher purpose. The quiet awakening is not sudden. It begins as a faint dissatisfaction with the superficial. Social interactions that once brought comfort now feel hollow. Group chats, constant notifications, and the need for approval gradually lose their appeal. The mind that awakens seeks depth, not distraction. These individuals start to notice the script behind the show. Life, in its endless cycles of praise and blame, begins to appear as a performance, and they no longer wish to act without understanding. This clarity comes with a gentle relief, as if a weight has been lifted, revealing the subtle rhythms of existence. They are neither broken nor lost. In fact, they are beginning to perceive a reality that others overlook. The old patterns of seeking validation no longer define them. They move with a calm intentionality, guided by observation rather than reaction. Even in solitude, this awakening is not loneliness. It is a deliberate turning inward, a choice to explore the depth of one's own consciousness. Each moment of quiet offers a mirror, reflecting both clarity and compassion, both presence and understanding. Clarity often arrives with discomfort. The observer sees the endless cycles of blame, of judgment, of performance, and recognizes their futility. Old relationships, once comfortable, begin to feel strained. The mind craves authenticity in others as much as in oneself. This phase is neither dramatic nor loud. It is subtle, marked by a quiet withdrawal from triviality. The observer notices how small talk drains energy rather than nourishes it. Conversations that revolve around appearances or social climbing no longer feel relevant. There is a recognition that life is not meant to be performed for constant approval. The awakened mind begins to distinguish between the voices of the world and the voice within. This discernment is not arrogance, it is necessity. Without it, clarity cannot take root. In this discomfort, there is also freedom. The observer realizes that stepping back does not mean disengagement from life. It means choosing engagement on a deeper level. Presence replaces reaction. Silence replaces unnecessary noise. Ultimately, clarity demands courage. To live with intention, to protect one's energy, and to let go of habitual performance is an act of subtle rebellion. Yet it is not rebellion against the world, but against the illusions that cloud the heart. Many who awaken enter what is often called the hermit phase. To outsiders, this may appear as retreat or isolation, but in truth it is integration. The individual steps away from distractions to understand themselves more fully, to rebuild their center. In this phase, routines are re-examined. Time is no longer measured by obligations or social approval, but by what nourishes the spirit. The awakened mind learns to enjoy its own company, finding solace in observation, reflection, and the quiet moments that reveal the nature of being. Connections that once seemed essential are re-evaluated. The hermit phase is not about cutting ties, but about discerning which relationships align with authenticity and which reinforce performance. Each interaction is considered carefully, each choice deliberate. There is a rhythm to this solitude. It is not loneliness. It is a deep conversation with life itself. Nature, silence, and the simplicity of daily existence become teachers. The observer begins to understand that withdrawal is not abandonment, but preparation for meaningful engagement. By the end of the hermit phase, the awakened individual is no longer fragmented. The mind is steady, the heart uncluttered, and the presence deepened. What emerges is a person capable of entering the world without being consumed by it. As awareness deepens, there is a natural pull to disconnect. Social media, endless notifications, and superficial demands begin to feel toxic. The awakened individual senses that energy is finite, and its preservation is paramount. Disconnecting does not mean rejecting the world entirely. It is about creating boundaries that protect clarity. Time spent observing, reflecting, and simply being becomes a sacred practice. The mind recognizes that it cannot act with presence If it is constantly fragmented, the world continues to spin with urgency and distraction, but the observer remains calm. In silence, choices become clearer. Priorities shift from the external to the internal. Every action is measured against a newfound understanding of what truly matters. This disconnection is a gentle detachment, a refusal to participate in performative cycles. The awakened mind is not antisocial, it is intentional. Every conversation, every engagement is weighed against the depth it brings rather than the image it projects. Ultimately, the pull to disconnect is an invitation. It asks the observer to step back from the world's noise and return only when presence, clarity, and purpose can guide the way. To awaken is to live at the edge of two worlds. One world clings to distraction, performance, and illusion. The other moves quietly, guided by presence, understanding, and authenticity. The observer inhabits both, never fully detached, yet never fully absorbed. This liminal existence is not easy. It is marked by the tension of knowing and not knowing, of acting without performing, of engaging without attachment. Yet within this tension, there is a unique freedom, the ability to witness life without being consumed by it. Relationships are experienced differently. Small talk and social performance feel irrelevant, yet connection is still sought on a deeper, more genuine level. The observer learns to navigate these two worlds with care, choosing when to speak, when to listen, and when to simply be. Living between worlds requires constant awareness. The awakened individual learns to observe without judgment, to act without ego, and to honor both the internal and external realities. This balance is delicate, yet profoundly grounding. In this state, life becomes an art of subtle presence. Actions are simple, yet meaningful. Words are deliberate, and every moment is observed with attentiveness that brings clarity to both self and surroundings. The awakened mind quickly realizes that energy is sacred. Every thought, interaction, and engagement has a cost. Protecting clarity is not selfish, it is essential for authentic living. Boundaries become the framework of daily life. The observer chooses silence over argument, reflection over reaction, and presence over performance. These choices are not reactive, they are intentional strategies to preserve integrity and insight. The world will often test these boundaries. Invitations to drama, distraction, and superficial engagement will appear constantly. Yet the awakened individual learns to navigate with grace, saying no without guilt, retreating without fear, and acting with quiet discernment. Protecting clarity also means tending to the mind and spirit. Time in nature, meditation, reflection, and simple routines become daily rituals. Each moment is an investment in sustainable presence, allowing the observer to engage fully when life calls. Ultimately, clarity becomes a compass. The awakened individual moves through life, guided not by the noise of the world, but by an inner understanding of what nourishes, what distracts, and what serves the deeper purpose of living authentically. To live awake in a world asleep is a subtle form of rebellion. It is not loud or confrontational, it is quiet, deliberate, and deeply intentional. The observer refuses to participate in meaningless cycles, yet does so without judgment or resentment. This rebellion is expressed in daily choices: to speak less, to observe more, to act with purpose. These small acts accumulate into a life that defies expectation. It is rebellion not against others, but against the illusion that life is measured by approval, performance, or distraction. The observer's actions ripple subtly. Others may notice a calm presence, a refusal to engage in drama, a clarity that is unsettling yet magnetic. Influence arises naturally, not through force, but through authenticity and steady action. There is courage in this path, to resist the pull of conformity, to preserve energy, and to live deliberately is not easy. Yet every choice affirms the inner truth, that life is not about acting for others, but living in alignment with awareness and presence. The subtle rebellion is quiet, yet powerful. It transforms daily life into a practice of integrity, attention, and authenticity. It demonstrates that awakening is not an escape, but a conscious way of engaging with the world. The culmination of awakening is a life guided by presence rather than performance. Every action is intentional, every word measured, every interaction authentic. The observer no longer acts to impress, to conform, or to gain approval. Success, as it was once defined, loses its meaning. Recognition, praise, and validation become secondary to the quiet satisfaction of being fully aligned with oneself. The awakened mind experiences joy not in accolades, but in the simple act of living consciously. Relationships deepen. Interaction becomes a meeting of presence rather than a transaction of performance. Empathy, kindness, and understanding flow naturally from a mind that is uncluttered and a heart that is unburdened. The observer moves through life with a gentle steadiness. Challenges are met with clarity, distractions with discernment, and complexity with simplicity. The focus shifts from quantity to quality, from doing to being. Ultimately, presence over performance is not a philosophy, but a lived practice. It is the quiet art of existing authentically, embracing both the light and shadow of life, and moving through the world as a mindful participant rather than a performer. The journey of awakening does not end. It evolves. The observer now stands at the edge of possibility, having cultivated clarity, presence, and intentional living. Life is experienced fully, yet without attachment to outcome. This is an invitation. Step back, observe, and consider. Where does noise dominate your life, and where could silence reveal truth? Where does performance obscure authenticity, and where might presence guide action? To live awake is to honor both self and world. Each deliberate choice becomes a practice of freedom, integrity, and understanding. Even small actions ripple outward, shaping the way we move through life. If this journey resonates, consider joining this space. Subscribe to the channel for more reflections and like the video to support clarity over noise. Let us walk this path together with steady presence and mindful attention.